A very long-winded answer to a simple question, leaving you scratching your head, unable to explain what you've just been told, is a big red flag.
It is a well-established fact, at least mathematically and based on empirical observation and analysis, that there most likely are physical additional spatial dimensions. And you could imagine in 4 and 5D space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space, where if you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow.
Don't you love this chap's face? It says it all.
So there is a possibility that, and this is a theory here, I'm not saying this is 100% the case.
What's the only explanation you could conjure to explain why not a single professional or amateur astronomer actively looking for alien life has not detected any, other than to suggest that they are in fact co-located on Earth in a fifth dimension, translating to our physical dimension using alien craft that they crash or land and abandon, only to disappear off into the blue yonder?
Based on the very specific properties that I was briefed on, isotopic ratios that would have to be engineered for it to be at those levels, but also just extremely strange, heavy atomic metal, high up in the periodic table arrangements that we don't understand, what the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange mix of elements. So it's totally nuts. It's just totally nuts. They recovered a partially intact vehicle, and we ended up scooping it. Fortunately, those details were not approved for me to talk about right now.
Are these things crashing?
Yeah, some are landed, some are crashed, and I think that's an interesting discussion that's come up. As advanced as we are, as humans, right? Planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, meet an unfortunate operational conclusion, as we might want to say. That analysis I did was a total hack job, and even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations with crash test dummies and mogul balloons, and they're just saying that the townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things. They concocted that whole report just to disinform. So it certainly looks like they want to understand how far we've advanced in our nuclear fizzle kind of technologies at the very least. I mean, it looks like preparatory probing activity. It might be innocent kind of scientific gathering, could be ISR probing. I had some optical engineering experts look at that, and the Raytheon AT FLIR system based on the pixel saturation and apparent size. It's certainly something that's not a jet. It might be some kind of natural phenomenon that's quite strange, but it's not as simple as a jet.
And the Tic Tac?
Truly anomalous, absolutely technical vehicle, physical, and that's absolutely something that we didn't make.
Not of this world.
Most likely, yeah.
It either zooms off so fast you can't see it, or it sinks into the ocean, but it seems to drop. What do you know about it?
It was truly anomalous, but very large, yeah. Like a football field kind of size. And I remember interviewing these personnel. I'm like, either these people are lying to me, they're having a psychotic break, or this is some crazy but true stuff that's happening, and I have no good explanation that's prosaic at all for this, because this is not explainable by swamp gas, St. Elmo's fire, ball lightning, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is like tangible technical craft they're seeing up close and personal in some cases when I interview people.
But wait, is there an explanation? Could there possibly be one coming up?
A program, Grush says, that's included at least one private aerospace company that is storing alien craft.
Is that true?
Is that true? A simple question requiring a one-word answer. Yes, it's true. But what do we hear instead?
That is how a lot of these relationships are. While I don't want to name the specific companies and government elements, but overall, the government has been the custodian of a lot of this, right? And they'll hand receipt it out to a cleared defense contractor to do some analysis, which I find highly unethical. You have basically a sole source arrangement, and you allow certain private corporate elements to look at this, develop a potential insight, and then sell it back to the government for profit. And I think that's totally unethical.
Just a thought, but if you were a government intelligence organization looking to discredit an employee who is a whistleblower raising a procurement irregularity, how best to do it than to feed him a story about aliens translating to our planet and allow him to go on national news claiming the
Crazy
same?
if he doesn't.
Do you think the American public is being lied to?
Well, they've been lied to over the years, and I'm hoping that the lies stop.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
Yeah, and I think that is the logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind. We'll never really understand full intent in that because we're not them, whatever them is or are. But I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened based on not only nuclear site probing activities, witness testimony. I think at least if we look at it through a humanistic lens, it does appear negative, at least to us.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
While I can't get into the specifics because that would reveal certain U.S. classified operations, I was briefed by a few individuals on the program that there were malevolent events like that.
Now I'm scared. People have just heard you say non-humans may well have murdered human beings.
That seems to be the case at one point, yeah.
Rush has written an internal document about his discoveries that refers to agreements that risk putting our future in jeopardy.
Have we made agreements with non-human intelligences?
That's the kind of information I really hope national leadership is able to get to the bottom of.
I need to pin you down on this. Are there agreements between non-human intelligences and the American government?
I think that's a question that I would like to know all the details of as well. True non-prosaic UAP situation could be contrived as a provocation of something from a nation state, and we want to de-escalate that.
Have people been killed to protect this secret?
Based on the people I talked to, that was an ongoing concern. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now.
Making things up.
No, I'm not a disgruntled employee. I resigned on my own accord because I thought altruistically it's more appropriate to show thought leadership on the outside on this now, because I hit an impasse within the government to try to right this wrong.
And here we have it, the classic disclosure, but in the negative. So what he should be saying is, I am a disgruntled employee. I didn't resign of my own accord, and I'm not acting altruistically.
And why would you suppress basic astrophysics, astrobiology, other hard and soft sciences broadly? It's totally nuts.
How will the non-human intelligence react to the revelation that human beings now know they're here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the non-human intelligences have been around for a while, at least multiple decades in modern history, and they've allowed ourselves to annihilate ourselves, genocide, war, famine, etc. So at the very least, I think they're kind of neutral on what humans decide to do with their free will. But all I want is a moment of pause and to see if the subject unites us as we've... But all I want is a moment of pause and to see if the subject unites us.